Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. We're George and Martha.
Hello.
Today we'll be recapping Big Little Lies, Season 2, Episode 3, The End of the World. I thought that was a good therapy scene.
Yeah, I loved it.
I've been critical of some of the therapy scenes this season.
Oh, absolutely.
But this was good. I thought it was very real. I thought the therapist was really onto... what's her name? Madeline? Quickly. She had her number like that. I loved it.
And it was very truthful.
It resonates when she says, you feel inadequate. And then she's like, maybe because you didn't go to college? What? I'm sorry, I don't see how that's relevant. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. I liked it. I thought it was just the way that the therapist sees her insecurity so quickly and goes in for the kill. That was very real.
And the therapist was so good because most therapists are just so passive.
A lot of therapists wouldn't see it, yeah.
Or they would see it, or they'd be too afraid.
So how can we move forward?
They don't want to lose a patient or a client.
There's this weird, brief moment. Bonnie walks in on her mother singing to her daughter, and it triggers something in her, and she's walking on the beach, and we get this memory of her mother showing her that you have to get used to water by submerging quickly, and she's like, but I'm scared. Too bad. And she dunks her, and then it snaps back to the present, and Zoe's diving into the water. I don't know what that's supposed to signify. They say with dreams that when you dream of water, it has to do with emotion. And it might be something like that, a lack of control. That when you dream you're drowning, it means you feel like you're totally out of control. Could be.
I just was under the impression that she was suicidal.
She might be. She might be. It looks like that.
You know what I was thinking is, this is morbid, and we've discussed this. This season would have started off so well with a suicide.
It would have. I think it would have been more realistic that somebody couldn't take the guilt.
And Zoe Kravitz is so good, and so it's nice to see her on screen.
Who's to say it's not going to go there?
That's true.
I think that they've been leading us to think Bonnie's going to tell the cops, like intentionally misleading us. It's kind of like last season, they kept leading us to believe Ziggy was the bully. They've done a little too much to make us think Bonnie's going to cave and tell everything. So I either think someone else is going to spill the beans, or you're onto something and she might commit suicide, and then we'll get a season 3 of that aftermath.
They are handling the Celeste aftermath so well.
Yes, they are. I really liked her scene in the car with Madeline when she talks about how she feels she was a better mother when she had Perry around, and Madeline is telling her about her own childhood and the things that she witnessed and how she witnessed her father having sex with another woman, and that therapy was making her realize that she was creating her own worst fears in a marriage.
So this is interesting because I was talking to my therapist earlier this week. Blanket's coming to comfort me because he knows things are going to get dark. And I witnessed my father having an affair. I didn't walk in on him having sex. Blanket's eating her hair. I'm trying to have a really serious moment, and Blanket is eating her hair.
A little levity.
But yeah, and then I was thinking...
That's terrible.
It's terrible, but then I'm wondering if maybe because his father had an affair with the secretary, and I'm wondering if my dad witnessed that too and just thought it's okay.
We all repeat what we've seen over and over.
And like the twins, it's horrible, but I love that the twins are so violent.
Well, because it's what happens.
Yeah, but they're not shying away from that, and that's what is good about this season so far. Nicole isn't, finding her voice.
No.
Celeste.
No, it's ugly what's happening. And the children do get affected. This is where it becomes closer to real life than just fantasy, where, oh, it's so romantic. They had a crazy relationship where he beat her up and they had hot sex. No, it affected the children, and now the children are violent. And it affects all their kids, right? What Madeline does affects her kids, and they show that. What Bonnie does is affecting her daughter. They show that. And I think we're about to see the effects of this on little Amabella.
But first of all, Charlotte's Web.
Yep. The scene. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It was so... I didn't like it. I found it cringy just because I'm like, come on. Come on. They've got, the kids with the overly mature statements. You know, when Ziggy's like, I don't think Charlotte lied. I think Charlotte did what all grown-ups do. Protect someone they love. And then Chloe's in the background going, I think Charlotte was just rebranding Wilbur.
That's kind of funny.
It was funny. I just thought it was... That, to me, was more realistic than what Ziggy said.
And it's the dialogue, because Ziggy does strike me as someone who is very smart and on point. But he doesn't have to express it that way.
He doesn't have to speak like a 32-year-old.
Well, I'm 32 and I don't speak that way.
No, you don't have Ziggy's maturity. And the teacher takes this discussion to, well, I think Charlotte didn't want anyone to eat Wilbur or any pigs. And why is that, boys and girls? Sustainability! Oh, come on.
You know that this teacher is going to cause so much drama with the parents.
Well, what happens? They're talking about sustainability and the environment, and then we hear a creaking sound, and Amabella has fainted in the closet. I can't wait to see Mama's reaction to that.
I love Mama, by the
way. This is when you know someone's good. I'm excited that Amabella passed out. Like, oh, this is going to be so good.
We paused it.
Hello, Jane. I'm Mary Louise Wright.
Hello.
Celeste told me that you might believe that my son is the father of your little Ziggy. Would you be willing to be subjected to a paternity test?
No.
Not you. I mean Ziggy.
No, absolutely not.
Well, you could have been with a lot of men.
He was the only man I've been with.
Let's not kid ourselves here, dear.
He raped me.
Oh, well, I'm supposed to believe that my son was a wife beater and a rapist.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was good.
Yes. That was good. You were good, but Meryl was good as well.
I thought Meryl was really good. I think Meryl is finding herself more. I have to say, in a lot of these scenes so far, I felt like she was very disengaged from her scene partners. In this scene, I look for little things. She's paying very close attention to the reactions from Jane. And I'm wondering how much of this has to do with Shailene Woodley being a lot less experienced than the other actors. And I wonder if Meryl doesn't feel the need to coddle her other scene partners as much. I think she feels like Nicole Kidman can stand on her own. Reese Witherspoon can stand... I said Reese. Reese Witherspoon can hold her own, but I think... And certainly Laura Dern can hold her own, but I think that Meryl is sort of maternal. It plays. I can see it, that she has this maternal feeling towards Shailene Woodley because Shailene's a lot younger and has not been in nearly as much as these other actors. And I could tell Meryl's really feeding her.
And I think Shailene is probably very intimidated just by Meryl being Meryl.
By all accounts, I know I always say, oh, I'm not a big Meryl fan, but I have always heard that she's a really, really nice person. Yeah. And I believe she is what they call a generous actor. I can see it. I can see that she's really trying to help Shailene. She's giving her a lot to work with. Mm-hmm. Whereas with these others, she's often doing a lot of this. She's in her own world, creating a character. But with Shailene, she's very... I liked it.
One thing you mentioned is Susan Sarandon.
She would have been really good.
With those eyes.
She would have been really good as Mary Louise. Can you imagine?
We both like camp. We do. And I think the only reason we think about other actors playing this role is because there is such an opportunity for that. And we just like the different directions of where...
The dialogue really lends itself to such a campy performance. The lines are so perfect for that. But I was thinking of other actors. You know who would have been phenomenal? Ellen Burstyn.
Yeah.
So good. So good. And what I love is that they all would have made completely different choices, right? You've got Meryl, who's playing it like kind of the dowdy, meddling, waspy woman. And then Susan Sarandon would have been, I think, a lot more aggressive. I think Jessica, well,
sexy.
Yeah, like a sexy, really...
The husband probably died. She got all the life insurance money. She probably got work done.
Yeah, Jessica would be playing it like a real, and probably a drunk. She'd make it a drunk, for sure. She would be asking the writers, could she have an alcohol problem?
They'd be, go for it, Jessica. Go for it, Miss Lange, Miss Lange.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever see, what's her name? Sarah Paulson making fun of her? She says that she'll go up to Ryan Murphy. When they were on American Horror Story together, she'd go, Ryan, do you think that we could... Oh, I don't know. And she puts on like a sweet voice. I could see her doing that, like changing a little bit of how Mary Louise is. I heard that too with Louis C.K. I know we're not supposed to talk about Louis C.K. because he's banished to Predator Farm, but when he made Horace and Pete with her,
that's right.
I heard him talking about Jessica and how she really liked her character, but she was like, I was hoping you'd do a bit more with her.
That's an actress, though. That's an actor in general.
Yes, but I think there are some that are less likely to be as bold in their choices and asking the writers to accommodate that. Like, I don't think Susan Sarandon would ask them to write anything in. She would just do something with it naturally.
I think Meryl just said, I want new teeth.
Meryl, I think, asked for dental prosthetic because she's basing this on someone that she knows, and I think she probably is the type of person who believes in specificity. I could see her talking about specificity and saying, well, it was the way she spoke was so informed by the way her tooth pushed her lip up, and I want that. It does work. I can see why she did that. It adds something.
Costume is very important, I think.
It is. I mean...
Because it transforms you in general. It's not just the way you look to an audience, but, I mean, shoes I find are very important. Shoes are the most, to me anyway, but anyhow.
That's interesting. Shoes for you. I'm trying to think for me. I would say it's the actual clothing, in that it changes so much of how you feel. If it's something more modest, you kind of want to hide yourself, or it's something really sexy, it can totally change how you enter a room. I was thinking how Ellen Burstyn would do it very frantically.
And just deeply wounded. I think she would keep it on her sleeve entirely.
Always on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Desperate. It would be like how she was in The Exorcist. I need to know what happened to my son. Like that. She'd be good.
She's very old school actress.
I love her so much. Oh my God. I love that we can fawn over these women together.
I know. We're like old queens.
We are. We actually are old queens inside.
If she were born a man, she would be right now wearing lots of turquoise, probably a caftan, Judy Garland playing all the time.
I mean, that is basically what I do. And we found out after knowing each other for a while that back before we were both sober.
You're really going to throw us under the bus. But go, do it.
We both, and we never knew each other. This is many years ago. Would drink, walk around chain smoking while listening to the Bernadette Peters version of Rose's Turn from Gypsy.
I remember when we were texting about that, I was waiting for the subway. And I almost lied to you because I was just so... I mean, that's pretty funny that, like, my idea of vulnerability is sharing that it was Rose's turn, because I was like, just tell her that it was Everything's Coming Up Roses when that wasn't the truth. I loved her
No.
everything coming up roses. Nothing's gonna stop us this time.
But I think it's why it was Rose's turn and why we were drinking and chain smoking. It's that it's a song about injustice and feeling so like
Ignored.
Ignored, right? Look at me. It's my turn. It's my turn.
We might have to
Do Rose's turn?
at some point.
Maybe we'll give you that little treat. Emma Bella has had an anxiety attack. Everything is okay. Mama Klein has entered the emergency room.
What did you do?
I love that. Oh my God. The poor teacher that she, on the first day, let's just make sure she doesn't get bullied again. That's not going to happen. She was choking and biting. That poor teacher is there. And the first thing she does, not thank you for getting help or whatever, just what did you do? And then she's going over to Amabella. Is it possible somebody bullying you? Somebody hurting you
Should we
again?
check for bite marks?
Yeah, should we check her for bite marks? The father comes over. Okay, don't talk to her. You've done enough. Classic. And the poor kid, I'm okay, Mommy. I'm fine. I'm okay. Okay, I'd like to have her transferred to Stanford. May I ask why? Because it's Stanford.
I mean,
Jeez. And then my favorite part, of course, the doctor's like, well, she's being discharged. We will recommend counseling. Blah. And I'm sure, team, this isn't helping. Oh, team, this isn't helping. Mind your business.
I love her so much, and I love that the doctor can immediately pick up on the dysfunction that's going on.
Well, look at her. She's literally sitting there having a divorce fight with the father over the body of the child having the anxiety attack.
Well, I think it's even before that. It's like, why is a fucking 10-year-old having an anxiety attack in the first place? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
That was me.
Right.
And the doctor, my dad took me to the emergency room, and the doctor was like, are you a cokehead? He asked me if I did coke. I'm like, I'm 12. And my dad jumped on the bandwagon. You can say.
You can say.
You can say. You can tell us the truth.
I was always complaining of ailments, and I think they were 99% anxiety related, and my mom would start to get annoyed with me because there was a lot of ER visits. A lot. And now that I look back on it, it was never diagnosed as anxiety. I think, my mom knew most of it was stress related, but no doctor picked up on it.
Did any doctor mention counseling? Because both of us clearly needed it.
Imagine how different we would have been if we had gone to counseling from day one.
What would we be? Lawyers. You would be a fucking lawyer.
I wanted to be a lawyer when I was a little kid.
You'd do very well. You'd be like Kamala.
A politician. Although I suspect that politicians have the same problem as showbiz people.
Totally, because I was going to say, if, we were raised with, in a different environment, we'd be politicians. But then I was thinking, no, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it is. If you think about it, right? All these famous politicians, they had problems with their parents. Oh, hello, dreams of my father.
Oh.
Horrible scene. This was a throwaway scene. Abigail and Madeline, terrible. This is, I guess, Abigail saying, I'm sorry I blurted that out. Yeah. If I did that to my parent, I would be very upset. And this kid is just like the biggest pothead or something. Is sorry about that. And then they're talking about Madeline's feelings of inadequacy again. And she's like, come on, Mom. Every time the Scarecrow got a brain in Wizard of Oz, you turn into a puddle.
That never fucking happened. And first of all, how many times did this family watch The Wizard of... Actually, maybe because she is like a musical theater person, but please.
Yeah, wow. If you only had a brain, it was so super emotional for you. We have to fast forward it to this day. I kind of always related to the flying monkeys, to be honest. I can't stand Abigail. I'm sorry. I really can't.
I liked her in the first season.
I'm not loving her the way she's written this time. Not the acting. The actress is very good. I'm just finding this relationship a little unrealistic. There's something about the dialogue that's very artificial.
And how did they repair the relationship? I'm confused. She moves back in because of the affair? Was that after the affair came to light? Is that what happened?
She went and got her from Bonnie because Bonnie's acting nuts, and I guess she wanted out of that situation.
That's right. I forgot.
She went from the frying pan to the fire. Well, we're having a lot of really great therapy scenes, some aggressive therapy work this season.
Dr. Peep.
Yeah, all I'm going to say is if somebody got me a child psychologist who dressed up as little Bo Peep and who was so aggressive and had fake teeth.
Very much a nod.
Would love to have the tea with you, but first I'm going to talk to Mommy and Daddy, okay? Okay. I would have been so mad.
I would have been pissed, and you know what? That is realistic. It's so over the top, and fucking, what's her name? What's Laura's character? Renata would totally do that.
Oh yeah, hire this woman. And I love how quickly she jumps out of the character. See you later. Okay, she's worried about death and the end of the world. They've been talking about climate change in school. Also, she's upset about you and you.
And I love that actress. She's on a show called Love on Netflix.
Oh, I didn't know that. She's good.
She's good. Well, you mentioned as we were watching it, you would be totally into a Bernadette Peters.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. I was trying to imagine what could my parents have told a child psychologist to do with me? Like, what character would I have responded to? When I was really little, though, see, I think of Amabella, and she's 8. When I was really little, I would have liked the big comfy couch lady.
Oh, I loved the big comfy couch, and my sister did too.
That's funny, because look where we are.
I think if Marilyn Manson showed up, I would like that, because I tried to be really edgy and cool. I didn't actually like Marilyn Manson, but I thought it might disturb my parents, so I did listen to Marilyn Manson.
That's interesting. I would have responded to a serial killer. I went through a phase where I was writing letters to David Berkowitz in prison.
Excuse me?
Yeah, but he didn't answer. I was so sad that I just started writing letters to David Berkowitz. And it wasn't like an infatuation thing. I wasn't like, I love you. I'm sorry. I cannot get into this. This Jane and the weird boyfriend thing. I can't. I find nothing compelling about this. I'm so sorry to bother you, Detective, but I was just wondering, any new developments?
We told you when we have any that we will be contacting you.
Oh, no, I know that I've been a bother, but a mother needs to know.
Okay, I know that I may look like a lesbian, but I'm not, and you trying to seduce me is very inappropriate, Mary Louise.
But you don't believe my son just fell, do you?
Are you touching me?
No. That was a good scene. I liked it. I find it a little weird, the way the cop is acting.
All I was thinking about in that scene was what was going through that woman's mind doing a scene with Meryl Streep. I look at these actors who are finally catching breaks. Oh my God, I'd be freaking the fuck out. I'd be terrified. I'd be texting you, Martha, no, I have diarrhea.
I think I'd be okay acting with Meryl. I really do.
I think I'd be okay because I think she'd put me at ease, but I think leading up to that I would be.
You know who I'd be intimidated by?
Jessica?
I've heard other actors talking about working with her and how scared they are. She is not the type to put someone at ease. I think I don't think she's mean. I think that she's just very, very method and into her craft, and will walk away to work on her character and then just show up for the scene, and you're like, hi, okay, ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay. I don't know. I think, who's another one? Sarandon. I'd be intimidated by.
What about Burstyn? I don't think so.
No.
I think
Burston
she's
would make
very
you feel
comforting.
good. Yep. Sarandon would give you that look and peel her eyes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, book.
And she would say that right before they said action,
Yep.
just to freak you out.
Yeah, book. What? Of course I am. And then you forget all your fucking
do.
lines. She gives you dirty looks for being unprofessional. Yeah, I don't know. I just get the feeling she wouldn't be that fun to do a scene with. Especially as a newbie.
Glenn would be good.
Glenn Close absolutely would be good. I feel like a lot of these people would be that are on this show. Nicole Kidman would be good.
Reese.
I don't think so. Nope. Can't say that I think she'd be fun to work with at all. Zoe Kravitz would be cool. Laura Dern would be good.
Oh, I love you, Laura Dern, so much.
She'd be awesome. I feel like she would be really cool. And you know what? I don't know if I've talked about this before, but Laura Dern and Jessica Lange have the same acting teacher. And I feel like Laura Dern would be the type to be like, I could hook you up with her. If you really want to work with her, I could do that for you.
I'll text her right now.
She would do that. She puts her in all her work. She always has a small role in Laura Dern's project. She would absolutely do that. Jessica would be like, I don't like to talk about that.
Which is understandable.
Totally. Okay, another good therapy scene. This therapist gets a lot of work, doesn't she? She's dealing with Celeste. She's dealing with Madeline, war veterans. It's a busy bee, Monterey.
Ziggy's next.
Well, I liked what the therapist said when she said she treats a lot of veterans of war and they don't know how to go back to mundane life. And she's like, you miss the war, Celeste. You miss having that activity with Perry. And then she notices what we noticed last time and we thought was a bruise on Celeste's arm from the car accident. Then she says, I broke up a fight with the boys. You know, I must have gotten whacked. And the therapist is like, do you self-inflict? She's like, I don't self-inflict. She says, well, a lot of victims feel an attachment to the wounds. And then she says, it's so dramatic, but it was good. Are you an addict, Celeste? Is Perry your drug?
It's true, though. It's the kind of thing you'd hear in AA.
Big time. Big time.
Yeah, I just thought she was ashamed or she didn't want to tell the therapist about the Ambien, little Ambien adventure. But then she covers the other arm.
I think she might be doing it.
We're going to learn more.
It makes sense. I understand.
It does.
She misses him. Again, I'm sorry. I just cannot get into or on board with this relationship with Jane and her coworker.
It's filler.
It's very much filler. The only thing that happened of any import was that he leaned in for a kiss really suddenly. I think it showed two things. That he's very awkward because there was nothing to indicate. It wasn't like they were doing one of these, like, so anyway.
Yeah.
She's just like, blah, 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 blah. You know, it was very...
And her backing away.
Yeah. So they show her trauma. They show
and
him...
the bus going by. That was scary.
There was a lot of sensory overload for her. And she tells him she needs to stay in neutral for now. And he's like, okay, I can do that. That scene was sweet with Mary Louise watching the memories of Perry on the iPad.
Yeah.
I will say I can tell that they green screen some of that just from the way that they're doing the cuts to when the kids, like what you see, what they're watching on the iPad.
And it's very steadily held.
Yeah, you can tell that it's a little editing tomfoolery, but that made me think, wow, the kids and Meryl did a really good job. They really look like they're watching Precious Memories. I was impressed with that. And what they're actually looking at is nothing. That was good.
And then did you see, so then Celeste comes in and joins them, sits on the other side, and she kisses one of the boys and then just sort of glares at Mary Louise over their heads. I don't know what that meant. What is she...
She's starting to become suspicious of Mary Louise. Mary Louise has been a little accusatory. We had that last episode where she says, where were you? And she says, why are you so suspicious of me all the time?
Do you think Mary Louise is the type of person who would start saying things to the boys?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Implying things. She wouldn't come out and be like, your mommy is accusing your daddy of rape.
Yeah, no, I don't trust her at all. And neither does Celeste. She comes in, everything okay in here?
My grandmother was like that. I feel bad, but she would say a lot of stuff about my father.
I think a lot of grandmothers do that.
Sad.
I think that sometimes they say, like, the reason grandparents get along with grandchildren is because they have a common enemy.
Yes.
And they bond over that.
I like that.
But it's inappropriate, and it's not right. Even if you get along, I think that the grandparents' role should be to facilitate. Because, of course, everybody likes grandma and grandpa better because they don't have the responsibilities that the parent does. But you still should not, like, be bad-mouthing mommy.
No.
But they do.
It's very
all the
damaging.
Time. So something dark occurred to me. I could be completely wrong about this, but Mary Louise is showing her little wallet photos, and she says that Ziggy looks so much like Perry's dead brother. Now, we don't know what the hell happened when Perry was a kid, but the brother died. And we know Perry was violent.
Yeah.
But she says he was such a nice boy. And I'm starting to get this terrible feeling that, we keep getting this message from the show. The kids are repeating the behaviors. The kids are repeating the behaviors. And now they've introduced the twins and Ziggy. And they say, right, what do the kids ask her? What does it mean if he's family?
Yeah.
Like, what's going to be different now? I have a bad feeling something is going to go wrong with the twins and Ziggy. Like, something violent is going to happen. I really hope that doesn't happen because that would be terrible. But I feel like that was a big clue.
Absolutely, and things are going so well with all the women.
Like when she points out that Ziggy's like the brother that got killed. And we know that one of the twins behaves like Perry.
And I just love this scene. It was just Meryl at her finest. And it was Shailene or Jane, having like a substantial scene that doesn't feel like filler.
It was really good. I mean, the way that she tolerates Mary Louise's questioning, because Mary Louise is being pretty offensive. It was very Jessica. I should like to be in Ziggy's life. I am his grandmother.
Okay, well, I mean, we could discuss that at a later date. I don't see the problem with that.
I hope this isn't offensive to you, but when you had your little rendezvous with my son, who initiated?
I don't think that matters.
Well, I just know how devoted Perry was to Celeste, and I can't conceive of him having an affair unless he was tempted in a moment of weakness, as men are prone to do.
He raped me?
I just can't subscribe to this notion that my son was evil. Did you see any good in him?
I was screaming for help as he forced himself onto me.
Well, Celeste did disclose to me that she and Perry had a violent sexual relationship, and maybe it's possible that he misinterpreted a signal from you.
No, because he was on top of me and he wouldn't let me leave the room.
But he was the sweetest little boy. I feel bad for Jane. She's like, are you trying to apologize for him?
Oh, she said that, right? Those bangs.
I liked how she said she's going to have to work on that when Mary Louise asked to be in Ziggy's life.
Yeah.
You're going to have to work on that. I mean, boy, this lady doesn't hold back, She moves quickly.
Yeah.
Like, you went from saying, I want a paternity test, then you see the kid, and you're like...
You stalk.
You're stalking them. And then, which is actually very Perry-like behavior. I'm starting to wonder... Now I'm having another really dark thought. We've always thought that Perry's father might be the one who was abusive, but what if it was Mary Louise?
Oh. Has the father really been mentioned at all?
We know very little about the father, and who knows? Who knows if... Oh my God, I just made another weird connection.
What?
If Mary Louise was the one who caused the brother's death, is that why when Celeste freaks out and shoves one of the twins,
she
just
nothing.
Looks at her?
You're on fire today, Martha.
Picking up all the connections. I just... Something's up here. And Mary Louise's behavior is what reminds me of Perry. The way she's treating Celeste, she's controlling her, she's manipulative, she's picking on her. There's something, and the way she is with the boys, and the way Celeste is wary of her, what are you doing? I think Mary Louise is the bad guy. I think Mary Louise is going to turn out to be a full-fledged fucking psycho.
I hope.
And the way she keeps saying, a mother needs to know, a mother needs to know. Well, what happened to your son? I'm surprised nobody... If I were Celeste and she's like, where were you? I would have been like, where were you when your kid died?
Yeah.
Something's going on. Something's up. So Celeste is covering up a bruise. We don't know what for. Maybe it's just because she realizes people are noticing it, so we see her putting makeup on it. Then we jump to Madeline walking in on Bonnie and Ed having a nice chat, yucking it up. Oh, hi. You know, Bonnie leaves. And Madeline is like, so what were you talking about? You guys look very happy. And he's like, yeah, it was good to have a laugh, you know. Talking about her mother. Everybody seems to have mother problems around here. And then he says something about how it's a twofer. He gets to piss off Nathan and Madeline at the same time.
Yeah.
She's upset. She's like, you're being so cold, blah, blah. But how do you expect him to behave?
And he's being very honest about how he's also trying to...
He's punishing her.
Punishing her, and he says it, and I like that. Because you know what? I would do the same fucking thing.
He says, you know what? The old me clearly wasn't working, was it? Right? I'm nice, I'm supportive, I'm the good husband, and you lie to me about everything, and you cheat on me, and tell our daughter about it. Thanks, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. And then we're in the car, and Madeline's crying to Celeste about how, oh, I don't know him anymore, I don't know anything. I mean, look at my friendships. What about your friendships? I didn't know what was happening to you. And she's like, well, how could you have known? That's not your fault. Which it really isn't.
No.
She did a very good job of covering it up.
A phenomenal job.
They acted like they were crazy about each other. That's the sick thing. They were crazy about each other. They did have the ideal marriage, right? Because they're in love. They love their kids. It's just they had this little dirty secret.
And I remember in the first season, Madeline and Ed talking about what a great sex life they must have.
Yep.
They were jealous. Or Madeline was jealous.
Yep.
Of Celeste's sex life. Only she knew.
This scene with Renata, oh my God, reaming out the principal and the teacher. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Talking about climate change to a bunch of 8-year-olds. He's like, okay, Renata, you're not the only one complaining, but you're by far the loudest, okay? And the world does not revolve around Amabella. And she's like, oh, you think because of this bankruptcy thing that people are going to stop caring about me? Let me tell you something. I will be rich again. I will rise from this, and I will buy every fucking kid a polar bear.
And how sick that's where her mind goes.
I love it. I know. I will be rich again. And I'll buy everybody a polar bear.
Every scene that she is in pops. And it works perfectly. It makes sense.
I love how she tells him, and I will squish you like the bug that you are. And then what does she say? Haven't been laid in 15 years. Pretend you're not a smoker, which is so true. I recently stopped smoking, but I've been guilty of this. I've been on a health kick and trying to be much better about what I eat, what I put on my body, but I was still smoking. And what made me stop was I read an article because I tried the natural deodorant, and I was reading about whether like regular deodorant's so bad for you. And a doctor is quoted as saying, you know, everybody's worried about what soap, what detergent, what deodorant, but they all smoke. Right? All the hipsters smoke, and they're like, oh, farm-raised, organic, locally sourced, artisanal, blah, blah, blah. Give me an American Spirit. Thanks, babe. And that was my favorite part, that after she storms out of there and tells the teacher,
Nothing.
Nothing. I love that when she storms out, he's like, I'm telling you, these second grade moms are Shakespearean. That is the Medusa of Monterey.
And you know what? She is, and it's perfect. She is so good.
And then he pulls out his cigarettes, American Spirits, which were my brand, and hands one to the teacher.
And the teacher takes it.
And they're sustainability, the environment.
Fuck this shit.
That was funny.
What do you think of them teaching the kids about global warming? It is a little bit much.
I think you can teach kids about climate change in a very, very diluted way at that age, because all you're going to do is fill them with existential dread, and they're too young and it's not right. You can explain to them like that the climate has changed over time and that right now some of the things we do affect the environment and there's some things we can do to help our planet, and that's all. You don't need to tell them everything's gonna go kaboom.
I remember being taught about the Holocaust when I was very young and not being able to sleep.
Renata's now venting to Madeline about what happened loudly in her real estate office, and she's like, can you fucking believe that he told me to go to hell? Puss, fuck. And Mary Louise is there. Oh, hello.
First of all, much more aggressive than we've seen her so far.
That was a very Jessica little...
You were there.
That was crazy. She doesn't even bother with a nice to meet you. She's like, we have met. I was at the funeral. Oh, you were there when my son died. It's like, I was? Huh.
And I love how Reese escorts her out. What do you say? She's just weird. She's strange.
I know. She's really strange. There's a quick scene with Bonnie and Jane at the beach. Hey, what are you doing here? What do you mean, what are you doing here? That's all these women do is go for walks on the beach. That's where they live. But anyway, apparently Jane has introduced Ziggy to her not boyfriend.
It seems so strange because I think we forgot to mention it, but in the kissing scene or the non-kissing scene, she mentions she has a son. I'd like to meet him. Okay. She's so he's such a sheltered boy, and she just feels the need to just allow him to meet this guy right off the bat. It seems
well, I guess it's consistent with her having poor judgment. Maybe that's another... I don't trust this guy. I really don't like... Maybe it's just the show has made me very cynical and afraid of everyone, but I think she's being a little naive with this guy. It's a little quick to have him hanging out with her kid.
Maybe she just wants Ziggy to have fun.
I guess, but I don't like it. Something off. And then, she's telling Bonnie that she feels like she can't really tell him why she doesn't want a kiss and this and that. And she's like, eventually he's going to have to know who you are.
I know. Maybe I should just tell him. I'll tell him right now.
And then Bonnie's like, I'm such a hypocrite. Nathan has no idea who I am. That's healthy.
Yeah.
Another stellar scene from Laura Dern. Renata going in to bully her husband. Turn that shit off. Sell your toys. I love it. But he tells her, I'm not the only one stressing out Amabella. You have your guards up. And she's like, did she tell you that? He's like, I'm telling you that. I'm your husband. Something's going on with you. And she does take a moment, like it affects her. And then she's like, yeah, there is something going on with me.
Sell your shit.
You put us in the poorhouse. Sell your shit.
I think the reason her scenes are so good is because there was so much they left out in the first season that was in the book. Mm-hmm. So she has so much more to do in this season because her scenes have been universally
excellent.
And it's not just her performance, it's the writing.
Everything. I could have done without this assembly scene. The only thing I liked was when... part of it was believable when the principal's like, okay, we're having this assembly about climate change. Thank you all, especially those of you who came to me personally to talk about this. You're welcome.
Yeah. The only thing about the scene that's good is fucking Renata.
As usual. But then it gets really weird. I have no idea how this happens. But all of a sudden, it's like a dream sequence. Madeline, you're a beacon of light. will you come up and speak? It's like, why would she speak? It was absolutely bizarre. The only funny thing, again, is Renata going, make sure they know my daughter's Amabella. She has anxiety. Okay.
What I realized, I think, while watching this is that there's no subtlety anymore.
No.
They just have to bang you over the fucking head with every theme.
Yep.
They can't just find a way to show it. They have to throw it in your face. It seems to be like laziness.
It is.
This is the theme of the whole series. She's gonna get up and do her fucking soliloquy. And I thought it was gonna be a nightmare. I thought she was gonna wake up hyperventilating like Nicole does. Somebody in the audience was filming her, so I assume it'll go viral. That's my prediction.
It was so weird. I don't know. She starts... First of all, it was a lot like Tracy Flick's. This is definitely like the sequel to Election.
It's
like
the sequel to... It's the third debate.
This is what happened to Tracy Flick. Tracy Flick grew up, and here she is making a speech again. I was ready for a flashback to her high school speech. Together, we can make things better. I was like, oh my God. It's the same character. And she starts having this breakdown where she's like, we can't always tell kids that things have a happy ending. It's like, you know, like that song, The Rainbow Connection, and sometimes there are visions and you wish on a star and someone believed that. Oh, so ridiculous. She storms out, and then Celeste and Renata go looking for her, and Renata's like, is this some kind of breakdown?
Oh, you think?
And then Ed comes walking by, and Celeste is aggressive. Would it kill you to go help her, Ed? She is your fucking wife. Oh, well. And he says, you know what, Celeste? Maybe you and I could grab coffee and you can fill me in on anything else I've missed.
That was good.
Very good. Then there's this scene with Madeline and Abigail that was weird, where she's treating Abigail like her BFF.
Oh.
How about some wine, Mom? Yeah, thanks.
And you know she lets Abigail drink. Abigail's, 18? Which I guess isn't that big of a deal, but it's...
I don't know. Their relationship's inappropriate. Well, Celeste comes home, and Mary Louise is acting like Perry, going through her things, looking through her pills. What are you doing? You're snooping. Oh, I was just looking for something to help me sleep. You have quite an array. Vicodin, you have to be so careful with those opiates, dear. It was very Jessica.
It was.
You have to be so careful with those opiates. Opiates. She's like, I needed it for the pain. Like when he kicked me. Oof.
Lifetime.
Very Lifetime scene. Very Lifetime scene. Mary Louise is reminding me a lot of her son Perry.
Snooping. Controlling. There's no privacy. I love Meryl. I love Meryl Streep. It can't be helped.
I like Meryl.
I know you do.
A lot. So then there's this montage, and they're intercutting some of the women and their intimacy. So Jane finally allows a hug and a slow dance from her guy. It's a little weird. I don't need it. And then we see Celeste watching an old video that Perry sent her. One of those, babe, I'm trying to sleep, but I miss you so much. And then Renata is there. She's dressed up in all her Cartier jewelry. She has the panther ring. That was my favorite, actually. I wanted more of that.
I wanted more of that. Perfect. So Tennessee Williams.
Now, this is something that I would have switched. They show Celeste. We end with Celeste masturbating while watching Perry's little night-night video. First of all, I could have done without the masturbating. I know this sounds sick, but I would have preferred to see her injuring herself, because we've hinted at that all episode, that she's self-inflicting the wounds.
Be the perfect way to end the episode.
It would have been, with her giving herself the bruises. And I would have actually liked to see Renata being the one masturbating with her Cartier jewelry on.
I mean, I'm probably going to masturbate to Renata.
With that, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this is going to play out. I'm curious.
Finally.
I want to know what your theories are about this. Like, do you think that I might be onto something with Mary Louise being the abuser in the family, and that something might happen to Ziggy? Do you think I'm totally off the mark? What do you think? Who's your favorite character? And I wanted to ask you, and I'll share mine, what was your favorite moment from the episode?
The Jane and Mary Louise scene, I felt like everything has gelled. I feel like now I'm excited about the series. I'm looking forward to where it's going. That would be that's what stands out most to me. I don't want to say it's my favorite. It's what stands out most to me about this episode. What about you?
I have to say, I think my favorite moment was Renata in the hospital. When Renata comes to see Amabella, and the way that she's talking to Amabella and the way she's speaking to the doctor, that for me, when I watch an episode, I kind of judge by that's my thing. The more I'm like, oh my God, I could watch that scene over, and everything is so perfect. The way that she treats the doctor, the way she's talking to her daughter, the way she's doesn't even hesitate. Her daughter's there with an anxiety attack, turns to him, you've done enough. Don't talk to her. So good. So good. I loved her mocking the doctor. I was going to pick the scene with the principal, but the scene with her daughter was more fucked up, and I loved it more.
The way she dressed with the principal is very you.
It is.
The way she held her bag.
Yeah, the way she speaks to people.
The way she speaks to people.
I've done things like this, but I was more justified. So anyway, I'd love to know, what was your favorite moment? What was your favorite scene? What do you think is going to happen?
And thank you for the comments.
Thank you for the comments. Thank you for watching. Thank you for every like. Thank you for every dislike. All attention is good attention.
Sadly.
And we're desperate for attention. We only have each other.
I sat up for this whole recap.
Yep. That's right. Thank you.